There are moments in life when being a man feels invisible. You open doors, you listen, you do the right things, and somehow you're still passed over. She's attracted to someone else, someone who doesn't try half as hard. And deep down, you begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? Let me tell you something, and hear me clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not too nice. You're not too emotional. You're not too quiet. You're just speaking the wrong language. Women don't fall in love with words alone. They fall for the emotion underneath them. A compliment, a real one, can stop her world for a second. Not because you're smooth, but because you saw her. Because in that split second, you made her feel understood, seen, appreciated, not as a conquest, not as a goal, but as a woman, a person. That's the kind of compliment that opens doors, the kind that says, I see your soul, not just your curves. So if you've ever wondered why she didn't stay, or why your words didn't sink deep, let me show you a new way to speak to her heart. Because when a woman feels seen, I'm talking really seen, she won't just fall for you. She'll feel safe with you. And that's when everything changes. One of the most underrated compliments you could ever give a woman is this: I love the way your mind works. Now, I know that might sound simple, even obvious, but let me explain why those 7 words hit deeper than you think, and why, when said sincerely, they can melt walls she's spent years building. Most men lead with physical compliments. You're so beautiful. That dress is amazing. Damn, you're sexy. And yes, those words might catch her attention for 5 seconds, maybe even spark a smile, but too often they feel recycled. Empty, like a default setting you didn't think very hard about. And she knows that. She knows 100 guys can say the same thing on Instagram or in her DM. So when a man looks at her and says something deeper, something careful, thoughtful, centered in her essence, it shakes something in her soul. Because now you're not admiring what's on her, you're admiring what comes from her. You're saying, I see your thoughts, I respect your intelligence, and I'm intrigued by the way your mind puts the world together. That kind of compliment doesn't come from a place of lust. It comes from curiosity and reverence. You're not just noticing her looks anymore, you're witnessing her. And when a woman feels witnessed, not watched, not objectified, but truly seen for her inner world, she starts to respond to you in a much deeper way. Let me tell you something. There are women out there who go years without being complimented on their intelligence or their mind. Women who lead meetings, raise children, solve big problems, write poetry, manage their emotions like warriors, and yet no one stops to say, the way you think is incredible. And so when you say it and mean it, it doesn't just sound sweet, it validates her. It affirms her sense of value in a way that beauty never could. Because beauty fades, intelligence evolves, physical compliments are fleeting, but when you admire her mind, she starts to imagine a future where you two can grow together. And I want you to be specific. Don't just say you're smart. Say, I love how you see things from angles no one else considers. Or I noticed how thoughtful your answer was in that conversation. That made me stop and think differently. The more specific you are, the more real it becomes. You see, when you compliment a woman's mind, what you're really saying is, your perspective matters to me. And in a world full of noise, those words are like a quiet sanctuary. They make her feel safe. They make her feel chosen, not for what she shows the world, but for how she engages with it. And men, when a woman feels mentally valued, emotionally respected, and intimately seen, that's when she starts to fall for you. Because now, it's not just about connection, it's about recognition. And that is love in its purest form. Out of all the compliments you can give a woman, few are as disarming, as intimate, or as rare as this one. You make me feel calm. You might not realize this yet, but peace is one of the most powerful gifts a woman brings into a man's life, and when you acknowledge it, without trying to be cool, without filtering it through ego, it touches her soul in a way very few things ever will. You see, most women walk through life being everything for everyone. They're strong for their families, nurturing to their partners, present at work, dependable to friends, and often completely invisible in their softness. They're expected to smile when it hurts, to carry others when they're weary, and to remain gentle in a world that isn't always kind back. And in all of that, most people overlook what their presence feels like. So what happens the moment you look her in the eye and say, "You make me feel calm"? Everything in her shifts because it's rare, because those aren't words of seduction, they're words of vulnerability. And when a man can sit in front of a woman and admit, "Your presence makes life feel a little easier for me," it's not weakness, it's strength in its most authentic form. You're telling her, "You bring safety into my storm. Your energy grounds something in me." Do you know what that does to a heart that's tired of performing? That's been told over and over that only her body or looks are the parts of her worth celebrating. It allows her to exhale, finally. And maybe you're thinking, but isn't a man supposed to be the one who provides calm, who gives stability? Yes, and real men do, but real men also recognize who and what brings peace into their world. Intimacy is a two-way street. You give peace, you receive peace. That balance is how emotional connection is built. So when you tell her, "You calm my mind," or "I feel safe when you're around," you're opening a door to emotional intimacy that most men never even think to knock on. She now knows she doesn't need to perform for you. She doesn't need to impress you. Just being who she is, her voice, her presence, her energy, is enough for you. And that, dear brother, is where true connection begins. Say it and mean it. Say it when she laughs at your worst joke. Say it in the silence after a deep talk. Say it as you both watch the world pass by from the passenger seat. Because it's in those simple, quiet moments that love is built, brick by authentic brick. Peace isn't loud, and that's why it's so unforgettable. You make me feel calm. Sometimes that's the whisper that unlocks the heart she's been hiding for years. There's something deeply humbling about telling someone, "You inspire me to be better." Most men don't say it, not because they don't feel it, but because admitting that someone has had that much of an impact on you. That feels like giving up control, and for a lot of men, control is the armor they've learned to carry, the thing that keeps them from getting hurt. But if you truly want to form a deep emotional connection with a woman, a connection that moves her beyond attraction and into admiration, then you have to be willing to say it. Tell her when she shifts something inside you, because when you tell a woman, "You inspire me to be better," you're not just throwing out a cute line. You're letting her know that her essence, her attitude, the way she moves through the world, it influences you. It awakens something in you, and there's nothing more profound than recognizing someone who brings light into your life. And I don't mean the kind of inspiration that comes from superficial things, not how she looks or what job she has or how she makes you look when you stand next to her. I'm talking about the quiet, personal ways she impacts who you are at your core. Maybe it's how she manages her emotions when she could easily lose control. Maybe it's how she handles her responsibilities with grace, even though she's tired. Maybe it's how kind she is to people who can't offer her anything in return. When you pause, take that in and say it. "You make me want to level up." Do you know what that tells her? It tells her that she's powerful not just in how she loves, but in how she lives. It also tells her that you're awake. You're not numb, you're watching not just her body, but her essence, and that's intimacy beyond what most men ever reach. It also shows humility, because when a man can say, "I'm not perfect, but knowing you challenges me to grow," he's stepping forward fully human, grounded, real, unafraid of becoming more. That kind of energy is rare and unforgettable, and gentlemen, here's the truth. A good woman doesn't want to change you. She's not looking to fix you, but when she knows that simply being who she is helps you stretch into your next version, she feels valued. Not used, not needed, but honored, because when love becomes a force that makes both people rise, that's when it becomes sacred. And if you can look a woman in the eyes and say, "You're part of my becoming," Trust me, she will never forget you. Because the moment she inspired your growth, you also became part of hers. And that is how love evolves. There's something extraordinary about being seen as one of one, not one of many, not vaguely special, but distinct, unforgettable, and that's the power of saying to a woman, "You're not like anyone I've ever met." When you say those words in your truth, with your chest, and with no agenda, you're telling her that something about her shook the pattern. That in all your life, all your interactions, all the women you've encountered, she disrupted the trend in the best way possible. Now, hear me, this isn't flattery, this isn't another line, this is about impact, it's about presence. And when you tell a woman she's not like anyone you've ever met, you're not just complimenting her, you're acknowledging the mark she's left on your spirit. Because the truth is, she's probably been told she's beautiful, that she's funny, smart, stylish. She's heard those words float through conversations before. But what she hasn't heard enough of is that her essence is different. The way she laughs from the gut. The way she listens with her whole heart. The way she brings light into a room without trying to own it. When you say, "You're not like anyone I've ever met," what you're really telling her is, "You stuck with me." And for a woman, especially one who's grown tired of being noticed for the wrong things, that's a powerful revelation. She doesn't want a man who notices her. She wants a man who remembers her, who pays attention, who doesn't just say something because it sounds good, but because he means it with every fiber of his being. So get specific. Say, "There's something about the way your energy settles a room. I've never seen that before." Say, "The way you ask questions that go deeper, like you actually care what the answer is. That's rare. That's what makes this compliment land." When it's anchored in something real, something only you could have observed because you were paying attention. Because here's the thing, when a woman hears that she's different, something in her heals, this world can be relentlessly loud about who women should be. There's always a mold, always a standard, and it gets exhausting trying to fit into something you weren't created for. So when she meets a man who says, "You're not like the rest, and that's what drew me in," you instantly separate yourself. You're not here for the image, you're here for the substance. You're not looking for a carbon copy, you're drawn to her for reasons you can't even fully explain, and that is where the magic lies. And do you know what happens when a woman believes she's unforgettable in your eyes? She starts to see you as unforgettable too. Because you didn't just make her feel wanted, you made her feel rare. You're strong, but you don't lose your softness. That is one of the most sacred compliments you can ever give a woman. Because let me tell you something, the modern woman, she's been through battles you'll never even see. She wakes up and puts on strength like armor because she has to, not because she wants to. She's out there building careers, holding families together, healing from things she never told anyone about, managing her emotions, navigating a world that questions her every move, and still, somehow she finds a way to give you warmth. You don't always see the weight she carries, but you feel the grace in how she carries it. In that softness, the tenderness she still chooses to share with the world even when it hasn't always been kind to her, that is her superpower. So when you look her in the eyes and say, "You're strong, but you don't lose your softness," what you're really doing is seeing it all. You're acknowledging not just her resilience, but her refusal to let that resilience turn her cold. You're celebrating the balance, the divine dance between power and presence, because it's not easy. Choosing to still be soft after life has tried to harden you. That's a choice, a painful, intentional daily choice. And not everyone gets to witness it, but you noticed, you saw it, and do you know what that means to a woman? It tells her, "You don't have to keep proving your strength to me. I already see it, and I honor it, but beyond that I also honor your heart." Too many people praise women only for their hustle, for their accomplishments, or worse, for their appearance. But very few take the time to say, "I see how loving you are while still holding yourself together." Very few say, "It amazes me how you can be so gentle in a world that keeps giving you reasons to break." That kind of compliment isn't romantic. It's reverent. You're not admiring what she gives you. You're respecting who she chooses to remain, despite everything she's up against. And when you say it, don't just gloss over it like a line. Let it leave on your lips a little longer. Let her feel the truth in it. You're strong, but you've never lost your softness. Give it breath. Give it weight. Let her know her light hasn't gone unnoticed. Because when you honor both her fight and her femininity, you're not just affirming her. You're giving her permission to put down the armor with you, to stop proving and simply exist in her full self. And that, my dear, is the kind of man a woman holds sacred, not because you kissed her body with your words, but because you kissed her soul with your truth. There are some compliments that don't just touch the heart, they quiet it. They slow it down. They make a woman stop and wonder if maybe, just maybe, she's finally being seen by someone who isn't trying to get something from her, but who's genuinely grateful just to be present in her space. And that's exactly what happens when you say, I feel lucky just to know you. And now listen, not lucky to have you, and not lucky to sleep with you, and not lucky to be seen with you, but lucky just to know you. That's when your words stop feeling like game and start feeling like grace. That's when they become medicine to a woman who's used to being appreciated conditionally. When she gives her body, when she says the right thing, when she makes someone feel wanted or needed. But when you tell her that knowing her, simply knowing her, is a gift, you remove the strings, you remove the pressure, and you offer something most men don't, presence without performance. She doesn't have to entertain you. She doesn't have to be perfect. She doesn't even have to try. You're not here because of what she does. You're here because of who she is. And let me tell you, that message slices through every wall she's learned to build. So many women are exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. And you wouldn't know it because they still show up, still smile, still carry the weight of trying to be enough. It becomes this constant fear in the back of her mind. Will I ever be valued simply for existing? So when your words come in like a whisper that says, even if I can't have you, I already feel blessed just to have met you, you give her something sacred, freedom, freedom to be, freedom to breathe, freedom to stop performing and just receive. That's the kind of moment she remembers, not because it's flashy, but because it's gentle, disarming, and rare. And here's the truth you may not always hear: when a woman feels deeply appreciated without expectation, something inside her softens. She starts to look at you not as someone who's chasing her, but as someone who honors her. That shifts the entire dynamic from pursuit to connection.